We can't stay here, they will find us. Then we'll face them together, with the kind of emotion that makes a man freeze mid-step. Remember me, Cowboy, she said, her voice trembling but strong. I'm the Apache girl you saved years ago. I've returned to marry you. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to Ripples and Legends, and leave a like and comment if this story touches your heart. The cowboy Luke Carver felt the ground tilt beneath him. He had just stepped out of the barn, dust still clinging to his gloves, when he saw her standing at the fence line, sunlight pouring behind her like a halo carved from gold. She was taller, now older, wrapped in soft buckskin with long braids that shimmered deep black. But her eyes, he knew those eyes. Eyes he had last seen filled with terror years ago. Luke had found her half-conscious near the cliffs, starving. Hunted alone. She couldn't have been more than 15. Trembling like a leaf clinging to the final edge of autumn, Luke hadn't cared about tribal borders, ancient feuds, or angry stares from both sides. He'd taken her into his cabin, fed her, hidden her, protected her until her people came searching. He remembered carrying her outside when the Apache scouts finally arrived. He remembered her clutching his shirt, not wanting to let go, whispering, "You saved my life, I won't forget." But he never expected to see her again, and certainly not like this. Luke's voice cracked as he spoke. You're alive." "I am," she whispered. "Because of you." She stepped closer, her moccasins barely making a sound on the dirt. "My name is Ayanna, now I am grown. And I have come back for the promise I made the night you carried me out, a promise that someday I would return to repay your kindness." Luke swallowed hard. "Ayanna, you don't owe me anything," but she shook her head fiercely. "In my people's way, a life saved must be honored. But this is not just about honor." She took another step closer, and Luke felt something warm and unfamiliar rising in his chest. "I have waited to find you again. I prayed the spirits would guide me here. I came because I have chosen you." Luke stepped back, not because he feared her, but because what she was saying felt too big, too heavy to hold with bare hands. "You don't even know me," he said. Ayanna smiled soft, sad. "Knowing I knew you when you were the kindest man I had ever seen." Luke let out a shaky breath. Memories he had buried suddenly rose like smoke from long-dead embers. Those sleepless nights sitting by her bedside, making sure she ate, comforting her when nightmares tore her awake. The way she had trusted him completely, instantly. Even when the world around them was cracked with fear. "I can't be the man you think I am," Luke whispered. "I've made mistakes." "Bad ones?" Ayanna's expression softened with a kind of patience Luke wasn't used to. "Everyone has, but you were good to a girl with no home. No voice, no safety." "That tells me all I need." Luke opened his mouth to argue. But before he could speak, a gust of cold wind blew across the ranch. The sky darkened a little, as if echoing the storm that had begun swirling inside him. "Why now?" Luke finally asked. "Why come back after all these years?" Ayanna looked down at her hands. When she lifted her gaze again, her eyes shimmered with something like grief. "My people were attacked," she said quietly. "We lost many, my mother was among them. Before she died, she told me to find peace where my heart led. Her voice cracked and my heart led me here." Luke felt his chest ache without thinking. He reached out and touched her hand. She didn't pull away instead. Her fingers curled gently around his. "I don't know if I deserve something like this," he whispered. Ayanna lifted her chin with a strength he remembered from that frightened girl, strength that had now matured into a woman's courage. "Love is not about deserving," she said softly. "It is about choosing." Luke blinked hard. "You love me." Ayanna breathed in slowly. "I don't expect you to return those words, not yet, but yes. I do." Silence stretched between them. Not uncomfortable, just heavy with truths unsaid. Luke stepped back, unsure what to do with her confession. He turned toward the barn doorway, but then he stopped because he remembered something. Something small but important. Ayanna had trusted him once with her life. Now she was trusting him with something even more fragile. Her heart, he couldn't walk away from that. So he turned back around. "Come inside," he said gently. "Let's talk. If you've come all this way, the least I can offer you is a meal." Ayanna's smile widened just a little, but enough to warm everything around her. Inside the cabin, the air felt different. As Luke cooked, Ayanna watched him with quiet fascination, as if she had stepped into a world she had only dreamed of. Every movement, every small sound between them felt charged. like two lives brushing against each other. After years of drifting separately, how long did it take you to find me? Luke asked finally. 4 winters, she replied. Your ranch was not easy to locate. Many times I was told to give up, but I would not. Why? He asked again, barely louder than a whisper. Ayana didn't hesitate. Because the kindness you gave me has lived inside my heart since the day you offered it. Luke felt something inside him bend like a fence, weakened by time finally giving way. He served her the meal and they ate in silence at first. But then Ayana began telling him stories. Stories of her childhood, of lessons from her mother, of the nights she prayed under the stars, asking for guidance, and Luke, who had built walls higher than the canyon cliffs, felt those walls begin to crumble. After dinner, they stepped outside. The sky was turning orange and purple, one of those sunsets that seemed too beautiful for the world they lived in. Ayana stood quietly beside him. Then she spoke in my people's way. Love is not taken, it is offered. I offer mine to you freely. Whether you choose it or not, I will still be grateful for the kindness you gave me. Luke closed his eyes, his throat tightened. Ayana, I don't know how to be what you want. I only want you to be honest, she said, so he was. I'm lonely, he admitted, more than I cared to say out loud. I never married, I never stayed close to anyone. I thought maybe I didn't deserve good things. Ayana stepped closer. Everyone deserves good things. Even you, Luke looked at her. Really looked, and for the first time in years, he felt something gentle rising inside him. Something warm, something hopeful. He reached out and brushed a strand of hair from her cheek. Ayana, he whispered, stay not because you owe me anything, but because I want you here. Her breath caught, her eyes glistened. I will stay, she said softly, as long as you want me. The night settled around them like a warm blanket, and Luke realized he hadn't felt that kind of peace in a very long time. Weeks passed. What began as a fragile connection slowly grew roots steadily, quietly, like a tree that had waited years for the right season to bloom. They learned each other's worlds, each other's wounds, each other's quiet hopes. And one morning, as Ayana braided her hair near the porch, Luke found himself staring and thinking, maybe love doesn't always come loud and sudden. Sometimes it returns softly, years later, wearing the face of someone you once saved who now saves you. He walked up to her, heart pounding, and gently took her hands. Ayana, he said, voice trembling, if you still want. If it's still in your heart, I'd be honored to marry you. Tears filled her eyes, but her smile was steady as sunrise. I have wanted nothing else, she whispered, and just like that, 2 lives that had crossed once in fear met again in hope. Woven together not by destiny, but by kindness freely given and love patiently returned. Because sometimes the greatest gifts come back to us in ways we never expect, but exactly when we need them most. Description most viral and USA friendly. A cowboy saves an injured Apache girl years ago, and never expects to see her again. But one quiet morning, she returns as a grown woman with a life-changing confession. This emotional kindness story will touch your heart and remind you that compassion leaves ripples that last a lifetime. Red Heart sparkles.